Good morning, Ramp Up students. We are going to be covering a lot of topics this summer in the 2 weeks that we're together. Some of them will be review, others will be brand new. So it is your time to rise to the occasion and master these skills without a calculator and get introduced to some other things. Today we're going to recall order of operations. I know you guys have all heard of PEMDAS. The notes I'm taking right now are actually the notes that are on top of the worksheet for the 6th and 7th graders. 8th graders, you can take notes on a separate sheet of paper if you would like, but you can also just sit and listen because I think you probably will remember how to do most of these. So the P in PEMDAS stands for parentheses. Anytime you see any parentheses or brackets or any other grouping symbol, you got to take care of what's inside of there first. Make sure you do that before you do anything else. The E stands for the exponents. Sometimes the exponents are called powers. We have special exponents that we have to think about. We are going to do this without a calculator, and sometimes you're going to have some positive numbers with an exponent, or you could have negative numbers with an exponent. Your negative numbers could have parentheses, or it could not have parentheses. So you really got to watch what's going on with all of these. The power tells you how many times that you are going to actually multiply that number. So 2 cubed is the same thing as 2 times 2 times 2, which is 8. Negative 2, because it's in parentheses, cubed, is going to be negative 2 times negative 2 times negative 2, which is negative 8. If you're looking at the next problem, negative 2 cubed, it is different than the last one we just did. This negative drops down, and the 2 is actually the only thing that's cubed. So it's going to be 2 times 2 times 2. So this answer is going to be negative 8 also. So you really got to watch. Pay attention to your negatives with the exponents. If you have an odd power, then your answer will end up negative, regardless of if you have the parentheses or not. But if you have an even power, it's going to be different. So you have to take the time and think about what all of these mean. Negative 2 squared with parentheses means that you are going to be taking negative 2 times negative 2. And a negative times a negative is a positive 4. Where on the next one, this negative drops down and the 2 gets cubed. I'm sorry, it's not cubed, it's squared in this problem. So the 2 gets multiplied together twice, and that gives us a final answer that ends up being negative 4. So when the power is even, if you have the negative number in the parentheses, it turns positive. But if you have a power that's even and the negative is not in the parentheses, your answer is going to end up negative. So you really have to remember those special exponent rules. Now if we go back over to PEMDAS, the M and the D do not have to go multiplication first and then division. The multiplication and division are done from left to right. So you can do division before multiplication. So make sure we're paying attention to that order. And then we're going to end with A and S, which stand for the addition and subtraction. But just like multiplication and division, these are going to be done from left to right also. So you can do subtraction before you do addition. So if we look at a couple examples down below, let's focus in on number 2. On number 2, you're going to have to take care of your parentheses first. Well, if you look inside the parentheses, there's really not anything that's happening inside the parentheses. So the next thing we do is we look at our exponents. We'll pay close attention here because only the 4 is squared. So I'm going to leave this alone. Now eventually you guys will be able to combine some of these steps. And I'm going to square that 4 to get 16. Now what's left is for me to multiply everything together. So some of you can take 5 times 3 times negative 4, but then others of you are going to just need to do 5 times 3, which is 15, and then 15 times negative 4, which is negative 60. So I need you to show every single step as you're working through these problems so that I can see that you understand what's going on. Sometimes your order will be different from my order. They do not have to be identical. I do ask that you don't use a calculator for the order of operations, but if you need to plug in 15 times negative 4 to a calculator, that's okay. So now we're going to go over here and we have to do multiplication before we can do subtraction. So this negative drops down and 2 times 16 is 32. And then we take negative 60 minus 32, which is the same thing as negative 60 plus negative 32, and that gives us negative 92. When you're adding and subtracting negative numbers, you keep the sign and then add the numbers together. Let's do one more of these together, and then I'm going to have you guys work through the worksheet, and then you just need to email me with any questions that you have. So let's look at number 3. On number 3, again, nothing happening inside the parentheses, but we do have a negative 3 that's being squared, and the negative 3 is inside the parentheses. So negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Positive 9 times 2 is 18. Then it's plus 15 divided by 5 times negative 4. So we're not going to do anything with the plus sign because addition and subtraction come last, but we do have to work through our multiplication and division from left to right. So if you look, we have some division that's happening before the multiplication. So we're going to have to do 15 divided by 5, which is 3, and then just drop down the parentheses with the negative 4, which means times negative 4. So now the 18 stays 18. 3 and negative 4 are being multiplied, and that's negative 12. And 18 minus 12 is 6. So I need you guys to work through the order of operations worksheets that you were assigned, and I need you to show all the steps that you're thinking about, just like I showed the steps here. If you have any questions, shoot me an email. Again, my name is Mrs. Wingler. Thanks, guys. Bye.